Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire.
Disappointing for me because I'm watching all these at-bats. I'm sure it's disappointing for Mac. We have to be better than that. You have to concentrate a little bit better. You have to know situational baseball. You're down 5-1 in the 8th inning, and you're up there, and it's 2 balls and no strikes leading off the inning, and you swing and tap a ball to third base off the end of the bat. That's not good.
After taking 2 out of 3 from the division-leading Indians, Ron Gardenhire's club played a rather uninspired series opener against the Twins last night. Hi, everyone. Alongside 2-time World Series champ Kirk Gibson, I'm Matt Shepard. What'd you think of his message, Gibby?
Well, I sense a little frustration. It's a clear message. I would always ask myself this time of the year, I may not be in the playoffs, but if I was, would I be playing the same? You hit 220 this year, it's not good enough, okay? You don't pull the chute now, you push it, you stay going every single day, you push it, and you prove it. You still got some time left.
No question, and a lot of guys still with something to prove. Mickey York now joins us from the Coliseum Studios. We have a special theme night here on our broadcast tonight, Mick. What can folks be in store for?
Well, Shep, we're on the road here in the Coliseum Studio. If you watch Tigers Live, you got just a little preview of what we have for you tonight. All throughout this evening's broadcast, we'll be highlighting journeys to the big leagues because everybody has a story. From long shots to big shots to travels near and far, the road is a winding one as it pertains to reaching the major leagues. We open the book on that road to the show next on Fox Sports Detroit. Visit Kroger.com for great deals, digital coupons, and more. Comerica Bank, raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. And by Jeep, hurry into the Jeep Adventure Days event for a great deal. Just straight good looks is how I got to the show, apparently.
Hello, Michael.
I just did. Actually works. All right.
Yeah, is the telly working today? It wasn't in Cleveland, forgive me. Oh my God, Michael Dino, was that a you know what?
Away. How much time you got?
Okay, so 16, I'm a sophomore in high school.
Well, I was kind of a late bloomer.
What did I get myself into?
When I got an offer from here, it was just kind of like almost like an instant feeling of I belong.
He was born in Dominican, but he went to New York.
Knowing that you're playing for your country is just a big thing.
Aduchi, anta, aduchi.
The draft process for me was kind of frustrating.
Long process to get there, but I always still like to have the dreams of getting there.
Where is there?
The major leagues.
The opportunities that I've had, being here at San Jack, it was something that was building the foundation for me for my future.
Road to the show. We'll be looking at it throughout tonight's telecast on a beautiful 81-degree Tuesday night with two-time world champ Kirk Gibson, Johnny Kane, Mickey York, Craig Monroe. I'm Matt Shepard. Welcome to Comerica Park. Today's Tigers starting pitcher is presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Daniel Norris looking for his first win of the year. Gibby, how does he get it?
29 in the third innings, 0-3 so far this year. He's had a lot of injuries, and now he's trying to find all of his pitches. Fastball, slider. He's got a curveball and a change. The slider's kind of been his key in his better games. He's got a hold of his sliders. Last game not so good, so he'll be searching for that tonight.
Here's the Twins batting order presented by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Jorge Polanco bats second. He's batting .375 in his last 11 games. Johnny Field is playing left field, 8 career games against Detroit. And Robbie Grossman, the right fielder, has a career high 26 doubles on the year.
McLaren Health Plan brings you the Tigers starting defense. Kristen Stewart in left again, Mikey Matuk in center, Nicholas Castellanos in right, Candy and Aducey on the corners, Ronnie Rodriguez at short, Dowell Lugo at second, Grayson Greiner catching Daniel Norris tonight.
Stay tuned to Tigers Live following the game, where we will select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game. It's presented by McDonald's. And maybe it'll be Daniel Norris tonight, in search of his first win since late September of a year ago. He'll face Joe Mauer to kick things off. Mauer is such a confident hitter, rarely swings at the first pitch, just 4% of the time. This one stroked to right and a base knock. Just a good, solid hitter.
Yeah, actually better this year, almost 300 against lefties. See the four-seamer there by Norris. And Mauer just prototypical Joe Mauer right there. Singles and doubles. One thing that he's been scrutinized for is the lack of home runs.
Here's Polanco.
This Twins team, they can hit some home runs. They've been pretty good here in Comerica Park, and they're going to let it fly. Daniel's got to keep the ball in the ballpark. Has really not had any long outings. 5 innings is as long as he's went, and that was on the 7th of this month.
To your point, Minnesota has 18 homers against the Tigers this year. 15 of those hit in the last 5 meetings. One and two to Jorge Polanco.
Polanco, he's letting it go, huh?
Why not?
6 home runs on the year, 33 RBI. Shortstop, we were talking Dan Gladden, an ex-teammate, and does the radio for the Twins. He likes Polanco.
Yeah, great dude. Really like Dan Gladden, and gave us a scouting report on a number of these Twins. The 1-2 pitch to short. Rodriguez takes the easy way, but they can't turn it. 1 down.
Got the first out. We've been talking a lot about this over the last couple weeks. Tigers struggled for a bit. Ronnie Rodriguez and Doel Lugo have been working a lot of extra early work. It's been much better. The exchanges are getting quicker. And the Tigers expect that they'll continue to improve.
Yeah, that footwork by Lugo is much improved from when he first got up here. The ability to kick the bag with your left heel and stay there, knowing a runner's bearing down on you, and make an accurate throw. Logan Forsythe, who came over in the trade with the Dodgers for Brian Dozier.
He was with the Pods before that. I've always liked this kid.
Me too.
Scrappy. He's just a good, solid ball player. Good flexibility. He can play around the diamond.
1-1. .43rd game he'll be playing here tonight with the Twins. Batting .286 with them. He'll give you good at bats, right, Gibby? He's not a superstar, but he's a steady player.
Yeah, I think he's a really good player on a really good team. Don't know that an everyday bottom of the order guy. There's no shame in that.
Right.
I mean, some may be saying, well, Gibby, you're dogging him. Hey, if you can be anywhere in a big league lineup, pretty good in my book.
Yeah, and on a regular basis too. There he is, what he did with the Dodgers. He comes here and he becomes instantly better, especially driving in the runs in almost half as many games. One and two to him.
Daniel Norris, fastball coming in about 90, 91. I know he's a looker. He likes to look up there. He'd like to get his velocity back. He has had several injuries, and I think it's more about the location and the deception.
When you say he's a looker, you mean looking at how hard he's throwing?
He checks the radar, yeah. I think he does. I've noticed he has, and I've had some conversation. I've heard it come up where he's trying to get his velocity back. So there's only one way to look to see what's going on. That's on the board.
Just missed inside. As a manager, would you suggest against that to your pitchers, or do you mind?
Depends. You know, it just depends if they're overthrowing, if it's a real problem. I think anybody would kind of do that. It's like if you hit a home run, you're going to look and see how far it went, aren't you?
Pulled the string on Forsythe for the second out. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it's kind of normal. Looks like a changeup. You can see the grip. A breaking ball, good one. On the side, you see it out front. So the whole key is to duplicate getting that hand, arm out front, and you want to have the same motion. It has to look the same to the hitter when it comes out of the hand.
Here's Robbie Grossman playing right field tonight again. In tight. We saw Detroit pitchers move a lot of Cleveland hitters off the plate in the 3-game weekend series. Staying aggressive, not giving in.
Establishing in early. Get it in their mind. It'll open the plate up for you later.
Punches this one foul. Francisco Liriano did a really nice job of that on Sunday to give Detroit their first series win in Cleveland since April of a year ago.
Liriano, I mean, he moved them away. Their feet were moving. They're jumping out of the way.
Yeah, he said his command of his fastball got so much better. He threw 29 pitches the last 3 innings. There goes the runner. The throw from Griner not in time.
Big jump. So he's just going first move. 3 steps and a peak. Griner had no shot.
Team's now 3 for 3 in stolen base attempts against Daniel Norris. 2-1 pitch. Make it 2-2.
Well, that's part of the equation. If you're a starting pitcher, you have to not only keep guys off base if you can, but you also have to manage the running game. It's one of those deals. He's been working on it. He's improved. But with Grayson Griner, a little different catcher. James McCann's been catching Daniel some as well. I think he tends sometimes when things get going, is he tends to become a thrower, kind of revert back to that, and got to just keep making your pitches. He has the ability, just needs to learn how to harness it.
First and second now with 2 down after the free pass. As you enjoy a Miller Lite, look forward to the whole true moment later in tonight's game. You mentioned Grayson Griner, 6'6", 239 pounds. Many people feel like that is such a large individual that they're not suited to play catcher. But what Ron Gardenhire says about Grayson Griner is he does a really nice job of getting low. Very flexible, holds the target low. And a lot of pitchers don't mind the fact that he's as tall as he is because of the type of glove that he shows them.
And target, good blocker. You know, the throwing, he needs to continue to improve. But he's got to manage the pitchers. He deserves a chance. That's why he's up here. James McCann has been there a couple of years, still developing. He's certainly, McCann is taking on a responsibility of accountability and also working with his pitchers, being a leader.
Tyler Austin pops it up. Jim Adducci should have no problem with it. He's called off by Dewal Lugo, and Daniel Norris avoids any damage despite some base path traffic. Ford dealers. Nicholas Castellanos, a 3-hit affair last night. Second time, he's ranked second in the American League with 18 3-hit games or more. Mikey Mata playing center field tonight. 8 homers in his last 25 games. Today's Twins starting pitcher, Jake Odorizzi, presented by MGM Grand Detroit.
Well, Jake's kind of a nibbler, has a lot of walks. I know he talked to Jack Morris recently. We'll see if he institutes that. High fastballs, sliders, a lot of changes. Got a curveball and a cutter, so he's got the kitchen sink. Almost threw a no-hitter against the Yankees not too long ago, but we're going to kick his rear end today.
Let's hope. He is 8th in the American League in walks, so you wonder if there is a different approach for the Tigers here tonight. And here's how they're playing. Jamer Candelario for StatCast AI, powered by AWS. You and I were talking with Ron Gardenhire about that. What's the approach against a guy who walks a lot of batters?
Well, you have to look in an area. You have to learn to have, I guess, better zone maintenance. And you know how do you do that? It's a process. You have to learn to lay off certain pitches.
Fly ball to right. No problem for Grossman.
You need to, when you're taking batting practice, etc., you need to have higher standards of what you swing at, what you don't swing at off the tee. When they're doing flips, you just have to change the way you think. 2-0 count does not mean he's going to throw you a strike. It means you're in the driver's seat and you pick what you want and you don't go fishing. And a lot of pitchers understand that you may be overly aggressive and they're going to throw a pitch in there and just dead fish it away and hope you hit it off the end of the bat. And I think that's what Gardy's saying. That was not good enough. He's been frustrated, but spoke out about it last night after the game.
As a former player, do you mind when your manager is as outspoken as Ron Gardenhire can be to the media?
I didn't mind it. Some may, but hey, hang with him. I mean, I think he's been understanding all year. Players understand it, and it's okay to have somebody be direct occasionally. I mean, what's the problem?
Yeah, I don't have a problem
I can't
with it.
see why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, I think it's great.
If you have expectations yourself, it's a real easy response to Ron Gardenhire. You're right. I got to be better.
Right.
The whole team's got to be better. Look, I mean, the results are what they are. Everybody's busting their tail, but they got to be better.
Well, what were you and I talking Sunday in Cleveland? You know, how professional they were, how they bounced back from a 15-0 loss on Saturday. That tells you something. So you know it's in there for them.
They've made a lot of improvements. They have different players playing a different position. Gardy's been very patient. Kristen Stewart, his long-awaited arrival, is here. But when he throws to the wrong base, that's got to be addressed. You just can't hope that they get it.
Check swing, base hit.
What a knock that is, huh? That's a beauty.
Take it.
Little check swing right here, and it falls in. It doesn't even out, though. They always say it does. Let's take a look at the Twins starting defense, brought to you by Tim Hortons. Left to right, Johnny Field, Jake Cave, and Robbie Grossman in the outfield. Miguel Sano and Joe Mauer at the corners. Jorge Polanco at short with Logan Forsythe at second. Chris Jimenez is catching Jake Odorizzi.
Sano back at third base after a little bit of a lengthy layoff. After an injury on a collision. Castellanos takes a wicked swing and fouls it back.
You know, the viewers did not see pick the stick, I don't think.
Oh, I think they did. We just didn't get a chance to make our own choices, or we made our choices, but we didn't have to come on camera. You know, it was more of a
very civil. And you quickly took
Jamer Candelario.
Then I quickly took
Kristen Stewart.
You were a little bit taken back by the quickness of my pick.
I think you were ready for it.
Yeah.
Castellanos pops it up right side, foul territory for Mauer. If Detroit combines for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring in a copy of the box score to a participating Arby's location tomorrow and get a free small order of curly fries. You can find a copy of the box score in your newspaper or on the Tigers page at foxsportsdetroit.com.
No, you've may have noticed already, Odorizzi's ball moves quite a bit. He's got 4 pitches. He can make his slider, breaking ball. Like that little cutter, he's got different degrees of movement cutting into a lefty, and he also can turn it over away on the changeup and the 2-seamer.
Throws a lot of pitches, but to your point, and you mentioned it earlier, last start, no hit the Yankees through 7 1/3.
That's where he loves to throw, right up at the top. Don't bite.
There's those numbers in his 6th win of the year. Good looking numbers too.
1 hit, I guess. Kind of a jump throw over there. Again, I don't know what the Tigers' philosophy is. I know I've talked to Ramon Santiago quite a few times throughout the year, but I think this is an area where they have improved, but can significantly improve and pick up base running gain next year.
Victor Martinez swings through a fastball, 1-1.
But you know, if you think about it, they work on hitting a lot, they work on defense, they work on pitching. And base running, you get a little bit of base running in there, not so much in the regular season. I think that's an area that all teams can devote more attention to and continue to imprint your philosophy.
Fouled it back. Give me the assumption is because baseball plays every day, you don't work on those things. You don't get a chance to practice like you do in other sports.
They do, but you know, you can coordinate film work where you kind of produce pieces for your team to see. They like kids, these guys like video. They like video. If you put a good video in there, and especially the dig me type. You know, when you make one of them doing good things.
Right, yeah.
Everybody loves to watch a dig me video.
Yeah, you're the star for that moment. Victor Martinez, one of the more difficult strikeout batters.
So it's a combination.
In the league.
Yeah, it's a combination. Sorry for interrupting you there.
Sorry.
It's a combination of push and, you know, being easy. Push a little bit, give them a break. Push, be open to input. Everybody doesn't do it the same way. I get it, but I think it's important to develop a philosophy. And we'll ask Jay Sartori when he was going to come up and talk to us. There are certain things that the metrics tell you about what is the right move on the bases and what is not. If you can get your team educated on that, you're going to make better decisions. You're going to score. You're going to advance more. You're going to put the pressure on your opponents, and you're going to score more runs.
It's got to be a buy-in from everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been involved in base running. I'm probably a little nuttier about base running than most, honestly. But you know, I could see a World Series be won right here on a good base running play. That's just what I see. Others may see a home run. And if all I'm saying is, if it's possible, let's be ready for it.
When you talk about base running, how about let's just use 19. We've been celebrating 1968 all year, right? The 50th anniversary. Lou Brock, why not slide it home from the Willie Horton throw? And he was a really good base runner. But on that play, that might have been a difference in that World Series.
I would say there's different factors that affect working on different parts of a game. And I think that will change as well, because the Tigers have lost a lot of their power, but they've significantly manufactured runs through their base running acumen.
Yeah, much better team going first to third this year.
But can be better
than they were a year ago. Oh, sure. Improvement, yeah, is needed, but
just watching Stewie right here, I mean, there's the timing factor there, and he's a little off.
Huge shift against Martinez.
And when you're out by 3 inches or 6 inches or a foot, you could probably go back somewhere along the line from first to third or home to second or home to third and find where you could have gained that 2 or 3 feet that you needed. But baseball is just attention to detail. You saw it when we were talking with Tram that night. Just attention to detail, things that you can learn, and don't get tired by it. Get excited.
Got him swinging. Tigers are done in the first. We're scoreless here in Detroit. Daniel Norris was lucky to be drafted out of high school. But when we return, he tells us why it was a frustrating process regardless.
For me, it was kind of frustrating. I mean, I'm obviously so grateful to get drafted in the second round by the Blue Jays, but before the draft, I was told by everybody that I was going to be, top 15 pick in the draft. I was getting calls in the first round, and me and my dad would high five, and like, this is it, and then I wouldn't get drafted, and it was just like a really confusing night for me, and ended up not getting drafted. Got drafted the next morning by the Blue Jays, and I was super happy about that, but the whole first round draft night thing was pretty surreal for me. It kind of showed me the business side at a very early age of baseball.
Just never know. Daniel Norris on his whole process getting to the big leagues. That's the 1-800-CALL-SAM of the game.
One of the issues with high draft picks, they have the slot now. Some call it a cap, but it basically you have a slot to sign your players within. And you got to find out whether you can sign them if you draft them. That's why they make these calls. Hey, everybody wants to be drafted high because you're going to have more priority within an organization and you're going to make more money.
Sure. Makes sense.
But in reality, you just need the opportunity.
But then what do you do when there is that tinge of disappointment? It's how you attack your career moving forward. There's that cliche, play with a chip on your shoulder. Maybe that's what it's all about for a guy like Daniel Norris on his road to the show. Nibbled and missed. Full count.
Yeah, I think Daniel has been in a good position to succeed, but both Toronto and now the Tigers. And the injury part, that's hard. That was hard for me as well.
Easy first out for him in the first, or in the second rather. Tigers conclude their series with the Twins tomorrow at 1:10. Enjoy great savings with a weekday value pack, 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 chips, 4 sodas. Only as little as $20 per person. For tickets, go to tigers.com/value. And that is value. Here's Miguel Sano. What a struggle it has been for him this year.
Is he hitting just over 200?
Yep, 202 to be exact. Has power, no doubt.
13 home runs, 41 RBI. They expect a lot more out of them than that.
Sure do.
Tigers don't want to see it.
Fouls that one away. Does have 40 career homers on the road, or 44 rather, and 40 at home. But a long way to go for him to reach the potential people in Minnesota feel he possesses.
See, when the potential part becomes front and center, I think it's really hard on players because they're not really ready to adapt to that.
Well, you know what that's like. I mean, being labeled the next Mickey Mantle could not have been the greatest compliment, if you will, early in your career.
It was. It was a compliment, and you shouldn't try and live up to somebody else, though. But everybody meant right. Sparky meant right by doing it. But
it's a lot of pressure, man.
People are, you know, and you're reading the clips. Trust me. You've heard the don't read your own press clippings. It's true.
Tough to avoid, though. Got him looking. Daniel Norris with his second strikeout of the night.
Snow, I think, looking for a breaking ball. He just gets the high heater. Borderline up, borderline away. Four-seamer. Freezes him up. Didn't really argue.
Can't. Here's Johnny Field. Field acquired from Tampa off waivers. Pulled. Fair ball. Could be extra bases. It'll be a 2-out stand-up double for the Minnesota left fielder.
He jumped on that first pitch. Rocket. Right off the tip of Candy's glove. That's why they call it the hot corner. Got there quick, didn't it?
Sure did.
Stand up double, 2 down.
Just his second career hit against Detroit. Chris Jimenez stands in. Good story about Jimenez in Minnesota. When some of the Twins were kind of hanging out with the Minnesota Wild, they pulled a joke on some of the hockey players and said Jimenez is really, it's Jimenez, okay, and he's Hispanic, so he doesn't really speak a lot of English. So some of the Minnesota Wild players were talking a little bit slower than usual, and then he says, guys, my name's Chris Jimenez. You can talk like you usually talk. I can follow. So they pulled it over on the
joke was on him.
Sure was.
Well, it's
like,
always
I'm from California. Don't worry about it.
That qualifies.
Well, good point. Not necessarily, but one pitch to him. To third. Nice backhand stab by Candelario. And a great scoop at first base by Jim Adduci. Saw it a few times in the series in Cleveland, and Adduci getting more comfortable right there at the other corner.
help you to get here to the bigs.
Over there, when you sign those deals that for the players to go over there, you're expected to be an elite player in that league. And if you're not, they send you home. For me, it took me to another level of believing in myself. Like I always say, I compare it. You know, they put you as Miguel Cabrera. You know, you got to get it done every day. You know, because that's what the expectations are.
That's the Bernstein advantage. Jim Adduci using his experience in Korea, then with the Texas Rangers to help him have a couple of decent years here in Detroit. Last year, 241. This year, up to 279 entering tonight's game.
What do you think? All of a sudden you get the call, Korea is an option. South Korea, what do you think?
Well, that'd be really difficult for me. I don't know how good I'd be over there.
Too far?
Yeah, it could be a little far for me. How about you?
Well, if it's the right thing for your career, I think you seriously consider it. When I actually went to the Dodgers, I felt like, you know, it was kind of a different world, and I thought culturally it would be a great experience, and it was. So I think Adduci had a good go over there and learned a lot as well. I mean, it would be something when you get older like me.
Would you give yourself a certain time frame? I'll give this 2 years, for example, and then if it doesn't work, I got to come back.
I think you're open-minded and with the expectation you're going to succeed. You can always adjust.
Mikey Matuk fouls it away on the very first pitch. It's a really good interview with Jim Adduci by Johnny Kane. He's a very reserved guy. Doesn't open up a whole lot. You can probably tell when we conduct our interviews with him on Tigers Live post-game. And
like him, like his tools.
I do too. I like him a lot. Yep. 0-2 now to Matuk.
Everybody needs to find their role on the perfect team. I can see Jim someday somewhere with a great contribution to a team in the postseason.
Absolutely, a left-handed stick off the bench.
He has the determination. We've already shown that. He's expressed. His wife is very supportive. That's big. You know, when it's tough is when they don't want to go and you got to go.
Yeah. It's hard enough for a different culture, but to do it by yourself would be really
Family's home. You're there.
You think players look at guys like that and think, man, this dude loves the game so much. He's willing to go to such great lengths, and an even added respect is involved there.
I don't know about that. I think they kind of size you up as a person and as a player and as a teammate, and that's how you earn your respect. So
well, he checks all those. He checks all those boxes.
Yeah, maybe that's part of it, though. Oh.
2 down.
Odorizzi does that a lot right at the top.
Hey, Tigers fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the Fox Sports app. Download the Fox Sports app and take Fox Sports Detroit and Tigers baseball with you. It's made available by Oakland University. Grayson Greiner, who started the series finale in Cleveland on Sunday and went 1 for 4.
Looking forward to Friday with Mr. Greiner. We have a little competition that we set up every Friday.
Oh, you do, huh?
Just kind of a charitable thing, but it's just a...
Can you share?
No, I keep it private. I know you're going to go ask him now.
Have to.
Yeah.
You've opened that door.
Well, it has to do with college football.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I challenged him. It's good to engage these guys and let them, let them get on you like you'd get on me.
Yeah, and in things other than just baseball, right? Why not?
Absolutely. Got to stay off the high pitch. You can look through the order. The first 6 Tiger hitters, that high pitch is being big for the Minnesota Twin righty. And we'll talk a little bit about his conversation with Jack Morse. Jack didn't let everybody in on it last night, but we will.
Tigers go in order. After the break, we'll look at the route more players are deciding to take these days. And we hear from MSU prospect Mitchell Taransky. Stay with us.
Whatever role you are assigned, that you have to be all in on it and make sure that you're doing 100% all time every single day. It can be a lot. I mean, it's a stressful job being a reliever and coming in big spots, but if you want to be able to make a name for yourself and help your team and put something on the board for you and your team, then I think that's a great way to do it.
Chevy's most dependable player, playing for Jake Boss up there in East Lansing.
Gotta like those uniforms, don't you, Shep?
They're sharp, absolutely. Really like the logo, actually. Always have.
You gotta admit they've got.
I hated it when you went to the Block S.
But how about one
ridiculous.
of the top mascots?
For me, not a huge mascot guy.
Either am I, but you've got.
I think it's been voted the #1 mascot, right? That or the TCU Horned Frog, one of them. Wouldn't you agree? One of those two?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely on the Michigan State deal for sure. The Horned Frog, I like the name better than the mascot.
I got you. What would be second to the Spartan mascot? Joe Mauer goes swinging. And speaking of Michigan State, how about Menards brings you the big money encounter? Kirk Gibson was not just a great baseball player at the major league level, probably a better football player in college. Really no probably about it.
More suited for football mentality wise.
Gaudy numbers right there for you.
At that time. I mean, it's nothing nowadays. These guys catch balls.
Well, yeah, but
yardage.
you got to understand at the time in which he played too. That's why I say gaudy numbers at that time.
It was run the ball until Darryl Rogers showed up at Michigan State. So, you know, all these guys, you get a break, you get a mentor, and you got to make use of it.
I would argue you could have been a top 5, no worse than a top 10 NFL draft pick. Why did you choose to go the baseball route rather than football, where you excelled so well?
Career, longer career. You looked at the longevity of both. You know, I enjoyed the contact in the football game better than I did baseball.
You think?
I played it more, and you know, I was way behind in baseball. Baseball is a real mental challenging. It's like, you know, I'm trying to click a jigsaw puzzle together the whole time.
You told me something interesting. You didn't get recruited by very many schools. You were actually going to go to my alma mater, weren't you?
In baseball or football?
No, football.
Yeah, Central and Eastern were probably my biggest supporters at the time. I got no Michigan action until right at the end. They kind of just checked me off at the end.
Punch to center. Good job by Mikey Matuk to track it down. Gibby's road to the show, though he never would have guessed he would have been in this spot, I'm sure.
Look at that hair.
How about that?
Wide receiver, that was against Michigan. Jerry Meter in the background.
Yeah, Jerry Meter's a good friend of mine. And then one of the most iconic photos, I think, in Detroit sports history.
Mary Schroeder captured that from the Free Press. Saw Mary just about 2 weeks ago. That's just, you know, people, we hear conversations about people showing people up and stuff. You know, I'm going to personally review some of my displays. You could misconstrue them as showing people up, right? But I wasn't doing that. It was just emotion.
Yeah, you were emotional. You were passionate.
So I think it's
edgy.
The same.
Edgy is another word to describe you, I think, when you played.
But it wasn't really in the opponent's face. I think most of the displays you see now that are scrutinized, people are just having fun, displaying an emotion. They're happy, obviously. Now, there are a few times when they're in your face in it, and that's uncalled for.
Rodriguez makes it 3 up and 3 down. When we come back, a member of the Tigers front office joins us. Stay with us. Back from a 6-1 loss last night. Welcome back to the booth alongside two-time World Series champ Kirk Gibson and Jay Sartori. I'm Matt Shepard. You are in charge of analytics. Did you ever envision analytics becoming this important, not just in baseball, but in sports in general?
You know, it's one of those things. It's surreal. You know, when you can take skills that you never thought you could apply to sports growing up as a kid, and you can do that for your job. It's a great feeling.
But how do you get to baseball? I mean, you've done many other things on your ascend up, correct?
Yeah.
How do you, and you went and worked at Apple for a while?
Yeah.
That's the coolest place to work, we heard. And now you're in baseball again, fully entrenched in trying to figure this data out.
You know, the getting into baseball was sort of like I always talk about it as the George Costanza moment. You know, you say like, "Hey, I'd love to work in baseball," and you know, for me, I read Moneyball, and that was a book that I think a lot of my contemporaries have read and said, "Hey, you know, maybe I could do this." So I was lucky enough to work into it, and you know, so fortunate enough just to fall into the right situations. And then I also had the great opportunity to go to Apple which I consider the best company in the world. It's a great place to work, but ultimately landed back here just because of the love of the game. That's really what I want to do on a day-to-day basis.
So I shouldn't be asking you. Yeah, well, well, you kind of have to be an ex-ball player to do that, like Jerry said to George. I guess you don't have to go that route, huh?
Right.
So your road to the show took you to a number of different stops, and you were an assistant. You moved up to assistant general manager with the Blue Jays at one point. Why this side of things rather than a traditional general manager path, if you will?
Well, I think general manager path is everybody takes like a different winding road. Who's fortunate enough to land there? There's only 30 of those jobs, and this is just how it happened to work out for me. I'm like really fortunate, I feel, to have opportunities at different organizations where I've learned a lot from great people, and now I'm here in a situation where hopefully they can utilize my skills to help the ball club. Ultimately, for me, it's more about like winning the ring than it is about my career progression.
The assumption is it's all based on numbers. Is that all you do, is crunch numbers?
That's some of what we do. I mean, that's part of our responsibility is to take that information and help Al and the staff and everybody here utilize that information to make our decisions better. I think we're smart enough to realize that that's not the answer to everything, and we have to blend it with the other information that we have to get to the right answers.
But Jay, I may be wrong, but you also came here to implement a new system. You built an organization and a system. There's various names for that. That has to be an exciting thing in itself. You were in on the design of it as well, weren't you?
That's been pretty cool. Yeah, we call our system Caesar, and really the impetus for that is to be able to go to one location and find all the information, whether it's stats or scouting or really anything that we want to find on a player or a team. Really just to the ease of use and to support our decision making and not make it cumbersome to find what you want to find.
How did your experience in different fields help you with that?
Well, I definitely think on the software side, having a little bit of experience at Apple and seeing how the best in the world do it, and having some experience working with software engineers that are literally like the superstars of software engineering.
Yeah.
You pick things up there, right? I don't think necessarily we're quite that good, but you certainly pick things up. And I refer to it as my Apple MBA. I was there for 2 years, and you learn on the job some really great skills.
So did you seek out baseball, or did baseball come looking for you?
I was, my last, time at Apple, I was seeking out baseball. The itch was back, and I was hoping to get back into the game.
Tigers had a mild threat, but they go quietly here in the third. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. Together
Here's some numbers for you. Tigers, one of 3 teams to double your defensive shift usage in the last year, and it's worked out well for you. Your batting average while shifting is way down to your opponent's average against you, and when you don't shift, it's higher. That's the way it's supposed to work. How does those numbers, how do you arrive at those numbers to where to move guys and when not to shift?
Yeah, we've been really pleased with our progress on it this year, and I guess this would be a good time to call out the staff that we have here who work tirelessly on this stuff. It's not a one-man show, and we have a lot of people really pitching in, utilizing data to inform our decisions on the field. You know, we have various aspects that we go through to determine the positioning, you know, based on the pitcher and the batter matchup, and then that stuff is reviewed with the coaching staff, you know, with their influence on it, right? How like the baseball applies to it to come up with our decision making.
How much communication do you have with Ron Gardenhire and his staff?
You know,
it a daily basis?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely daily, and there's several of us, you know, who are tasked with, you know, interfacing with Joe Vavra and Ramon and Gardy and the rest of the staff, you know, to provide that information. There's a lot of information, and there's, you know, it's every single day, right, that you have to like grinding away, and you're trying to, you know, improve it and make it right, and you know, you learn through the process, and you're always trying to make it better.
Now, they got a man on first right now, nobody out. Some people say don't bunt when you like say it's the 8th inning or the 9th inning. You're looking for 1 run. What is the metric that says it's better to let guys hit than it is to bunt right now? Yeah,
you know, I think ultimately it just, you know, comes down to not giving away outs, and you know, as a team, that's your currency on offense is you've got 27 outs, and you don't want to give those up, and there are, you know, data points that influence, you know, when it would make sense for you to do it, and it's going to be situational with the lineup and the situation of the game. But generally speaking, you don't want to be giving up outs in situations that would lessen your opportunity to score more runs.
Okay, and now did you call this a modified shift right here?
But I think that is, yeah.
Partial?
It's a partial if, you know, if you've got 2 and 2, that would be a partial. 3 and 1 it would be considered the full.
Okay, now there you see the partial, and you can see the numbers. A partial shift, your major league rank is 2nd. Full shift, there you see the average. And if you don't shift, 293. So these are the kind of things that this is what you're looking for. This is making progress.
Yeah, you know, we're looking at this information as well as, you know, other pieces of information, and you know, we live and die with this sort of on a daily basis. You know, our staff of, you know, every time a ball gets through, we're taking it personally, and I think that's the only way to get better is like we're grinding through every day, and every time a ball goes through, we're examining, you know, why is that the case, and you know, we want to make it so, you know, nothing gets through. It's never going to happen, but that's our goal.
Now it seems like this is more accepted now, but there was a period, and there are people that don't believe in the shift. So you may have pitchers that don't believe in the shift, managers don't believe in the shift, organizations as well. But how did you guys? It seems like you're making progress. Then how did you come over? You know, get over that hurdle?
Yeah, you know, that is a tough thing, right? Like for players who have come up their whole career, especially pitchers not having that behind them. You know, it's an education process, and you know, in part, you know, we just had to. In many instances, sit with the pitchers and go through the information that we were generating for them to get their buy-in, right, to make them feel comfortable with it. We need them to feel comfortable on the mound.
Jay, do you ever worry that it's too much numbers, that it's almost paralysis by analysis?
I mean, that is a concern always, right? You don't want to get into that point, right? There's a happy medium. I think it's our job to sift through everything, though, right? Like we want to make sure that we know all the information, and then, you know, part of the process is, you know, identifying what's important and what is not.
Now, kind of one last area that I'd like to go into. The season's going to be over. You're going to be evaluating the talent, and you have a system, I believe, where it's going to be hard. You've got a lot of guys. Some guys have to be on the roster. Some guys you're going to have to let go. They're good ball players. There's a lot that goes in. Who do you keep? Who do you don't keep? How do you project? What is it? How do you project who you might want to keep and who you're going to have to let go? You got to make a decision between one or the other.
Yeah, that is
from your world.
Yeah, it's a complicated process. We've started, you know, in analytics, we've started our processes, and you know, we have we have models and information that we use to influence our decision making, and we don't want to just rely on those blind, but we'd actually also go through that information and the tedious process of player by player and to analyze. And then certainly there are many great baseball minds within the organization, and then there are several meetings and processes to go through and blend all of that information to the final decision. From our perspective, we just want to be prepared as we can with the best information that we can get, and organized, and have a standard process.
Is most of your work focusing numbers and analytics on the Tigers or their opponent and other teams at this time of the year when you're trying to prepare for free agents and possible other players who might be released that might be able to help your minor league system?
I think that's the great part about data, and the large amounts of data that we have is, when we create, information or statistics or metrics that we use to evaluate players, that we can do it on a large scale. So we don't necessarily have to do something just to evaluate the Tigers, but we could do something to literally evaluate every player in baseball. And it's going to vary by level, but the scope of what you can do with data is that's a very helpful aspect.
How many conversations do you have with analytical personnel in other sports? Because it's big. It's not just baseball. They're doing it in football. They're doing it in hockey. There's a general manager in Arizona who literally was promoted to that job based off his analytical knowledge.
Yeah, I've had on a few occasions. I've definitely talked with people in other sports, and I think even not on the analytics front, but just how they operate their business. It's really interesting to find out. You can definitely pick up things that other organizations are doing successfully.
How do you deem what's successful and what's not? Championships?
Ultimately, everything's based on wins and losses, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, for better or worse.
Well, that's some thick stuff, huh?
Yeah,
it takes some concentrating on, and you can go on and on and on in this. Jay, we really appreciate you sharing the information.
Well, we know.
Oh, almost
that's
right
at you.
Gosh,
just a little bit too.
What are the odds of that? Can you figure that out?
Quickly.
No, it's why I have smart people on my staff. That's the one thing, hire smarter. That makes you look better.
This is the road to the show. We put up your resume and how you got here. What's the advice to young people who would love to follow in your footsteps?
I think the biggest thing is focus on your education, but have a passion and work hard. You can control those things. You can control your effort level, and just give 100% to everything you do. We've always found that our best employees are the people who care the most and want to be the best.
Well, don't you think the advice that you gave earlier in our conversation, that there is no necessarily right path? There's a lot of different paths you can take to get to where you want to go.
Oh yeah, absolutely, right? Like even we've got various people within the organization, and I happen not to come from a playing background, but so many people have that playing background that I wish I had, that I can influence my decision making. But there are people on my team here that just have their ability to write code or to create software that that other people can't do. That's really impressive, and they should leverage that into their career.
So you referenced making code. Is that organizing some data within creating your own formula to create some type of index to grade people?
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jay Sartori.
Thanks, Jay.
Great education. Thanks, man. We appreciate it, and appreciate all the hard work that you and your team do for the Tigers on a day-to-day basis. When Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond, and your Detroit Pistons take on the Brooklyn Nets. Don't miss opening night 2018. For tickets, call 248-377-0100 or visit pistons.com. I've heard about their camp. Now, they've been working out at the practice facility. They're going to go to the University of Michigan and have a little camp there. I've heard really positive things coming out of their workouts right now.
Well, you hear positive things come out of most camps right now.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, Dwayne Casey, I think, is going to be a difference maker for this team. That doesn't mean they're going to win the division or win the East or even be loads better in the win-loss column than a year ago. But I think they will respond to him. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm just saying, in general, I'm not just being specific to the Pistons. When it's spring training in baseball, it's pretty optimistic. You start a year, you're optimistic. They should be optimistic, and I hope that they can carry it through.
I do too. Wings will open the preseason on Fox Sports Detroit tomorrow. Pretty excited about that. I just came back from Traverse City, watched Gus Nyquist and Dylan Larkin and the rest of the guys up there scrimmaging and practicing. It's a lot of competition there.
Shep, you're unbelievable. You drove back from Cleveland.
You and I drove back to Cleveland.
Drove up to Traverse City.
Yeah.
Did that.
Enjoyed it very much.
And came back today.
Yeah, the only disappointment was you didn't come with me to Traverse City and we couldn't play golf together.
I
but
had
overall,
to go to Grand Rapids.
Yeah, you did. Inspire some people.
But you came back today. Got a night game and then a day game tomorrow. And they said Nick went on that.
You think he did? Didn't look like it to me.
Well, did he ask for help?
No.
He just rung him, huh?
Just rung him. I don't think Nick Castellanos agrees with it either. Third strikeout of the night for Jake Odorizzi. Mikey Matuk, no, you did not go. Umpire Gibson.
This is one that tells you. No, he did not go.
There you go. But in the box score, he did. And it's Victor Martinez, who was the first strikeout victim of Odorizzi tonight. Lost it to left. Field has room. 2 down. Tigers host the Royals this Saturday at 6:10. The first 10,000 fans receive a 1968 themed Detroit Tigers Hawaiian shirt. For tickets, go to tigers.com. Maybe you'll be wearing that in the booth that night.
I will.
Oh, I'm sorry. Put the cat out of the bag there.
What? And then you're going to wear the pause suit?
Yeah, right.
I'll do it.
I promise I'll look a lot better on TV with a pause head instead of this one.
We can do a telecast with the mascot costumes on.
Would you like that?
With a wireless. Get the RF going. Let's go.
A little bit later in the season because those suits get warm, don't they?
It's going to be chilly this weekend, though. Maybe we can. I'll do play-by-play, and you can do the pause unit just for an inning.
All right, sounds good. Would you like to do a broadcast from up there where the Twin Tigers are on that scoreboard? There's a pause outfit.
Might be breezy up there.
Yeah, it might be. Middle of the summer wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, it'd be fun though.
What a great look that would be. 1-2 to Jim Adducey.
So we've done theme broadcasts around stadiums over the years. We did some at Tiger Stadium in the upper deck. We did one back out in right field many years ago. This was probably early 2000s. My favorite deals was when Josh Lewin gave me $100 to go get a hot dog. I bought 2 hot dogs and said keep the change, and he bought time.
Well, I promise you this.
That's my money.
I promise you this. This play-by-play partner will not be doing that.
I said, he told me to bring the change back.
What's he doing with a $100 bill in his wallet in the first place?
He took it out of my pocket.
Oh, he did. Your generosity.
Adducy staying alive. Hit the big 3-run home run in the last game in Cleveland.
Opposite field, too.
Yeah, he really stays on the pitches when he gets 2 strikes, trying to start a little 2-out magic for the Tigers.
It's amazing at what stages different players grow. Seems to have grown, even though he's been around for a little bit.
But he's had some experience at the big leagues.
Yeah. Rung up. Another quick inning for Jake Odorizzi. And we're through 4. Need support. Help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to these families. Donate today by going to redcross.org or text Florence to 90999 to give $10 to Red Cross Hurricane Relief. The number 8, 9, and back at the top of the order for the Twins here in the 5th. Johnny Field doubled but was stranded at second base back in the 2nd. This one, a high fly ball to left. Kristen Stewart has a beat on it. Daniel Norris has settled in nicely, Gibby.
Yeah, he's throwing a good game. 66 pitches through 4. Maybe a few too many pitches, but throwing the ball good. He's just got to stay on track. That's what has bit him so far this season as he gets rolling, and then things can fall apart. Got to learn how to stop that. Look at the pitching starter comparison right there. Good duel.
Sure is. Nothing wrong with that. Chris Jimenez playing in his 34th career game against Detroit. Came over from the Cubs for Bobby Wilson. Slapped to third. Tough hop for Candelario. A one hopper. 2 down.
Let's take a look at our Bell Tire pitch by pitch. Daniel Norris really throwing a good game tonight. Found his breaking ball and his curveball. Twins have not been able to center on that. And he's mixing the fastball up and into the righties. Just overall around the plate today. Got Joe Mauer, who doesn't strike out hardly at all. See a good mix for Daniel Norris. Now through 4 1/3. No runs yet, 2 walks and 5 strikeouts. It's a nice play by Candy there. Did you see him slip? Didn't panic. Just kind of threw a nice one hopper over there.
Is that intentional, do you think?
Absolutely.
The one hopper?
Yeah, absolutely. Watch it. He takes it, his feet get out from underneath him. He just bounces it. Nice one long hop. Easy catch for the Ducey.
Mauer slaps one foul. 0-2 to Joe Mauer.
You know when players started doing that was on the turf.
Turf, sure.
Because it was way easier on the turf. And now they've taken it onto the grass. These infields with the grass is so much nicer. It used to be much longer, certainly here in Tiger Stadium in Comerica Park. quick 2 outs here so far in the 5th. Tigers got to get Mauer and get some runs on the board. Hope our viewers enjoyed the metrics classroom tonight. I thought that was very interesting, and we always look for ways to try and
really interesting conversation.
Bring you along a little bit. We try and do the best we can. Jay was really good at the way he explained it.
Agreed.
And you can see when we were in the modified shift or the partial shift and the numbers, it's every time you come to a game, you're going to see guys moving all over the field, and metrics is the reason, and they are valuable. It's proven that it works.
Yeah, I love the numbers associated with that question you had, where full shift, half shift, no shift at all, and the batting average. Mauer to left, right at Kristen Stewart. That's a 10-pitch inning for Daniel Norris. You know, Paul Molitor starred as a Brewer at one point in his career. We have the story of a guy who's starring in Milwaukee right now, especially after yesterday. At T-Mobile last night, after hitting for the cycle on August 29th in Cincinnati, the Brewers' Christian Yelich accomplished the feat again. This time at home against the Reds with a single in the first, double in the third, 2-run shot in the fifth, and a triple to the right center field gap in the sixth. The first time ever a player has hit for the cycle against the same team in the same season. And he's the 5th player to ever hit 2 cycles in the same year. The last to do it was Aaron Hill in 2012.
I was there, Aaron Hill, for the D-backs. I witnessed it. That's incredible. He's having a heck of a half, isn't he?
He has pushed himself into the MVP conversation. Right at Miguel Sano. 1 down. Mikey Mato got all of it, but it was right at the Twins' third baseman.
Yeah, this is one of these things where you hope that that it evens out. This is an absolute missile directly to Sano's glove. Look at this, get there quick.
That's positioning, isn't it?
That's part of it. They know where to play. We'll share some other numbers as we go along through the lineups.
Just a final thought on Yelich, by the way. The other 4 players to have hit for the cycle twice in the same season: John Riley in 1883, Tip O'Neill in 1887, and Babe Herman in 1931.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something.
That's a lot.
Plenty of Detroiters have hit for the cycle. None twice in the same season, but George Kell has done it. Damian Easley, Carlos Guillen, Great Charlie Gehringer. Started with a guy by the name of George Wood, who played for the Detroit Wolverines back in 1885.
How do they keep records from 1885?
I don't know. But it's part of the reason I love Baseball Reference, as do you.
I like it all. Everybody's got an angle. You got to figure it out. It's challenging and it's good for your thought process, sorting things out, tasks, solving, recall. It all goes in there together. Go look it up, cross-reference it, put it in the fun machine, and it goes. Ticket comes out. There's your answer.
Like a video game?
Yeah, similar.
Right. Use those tickets, do you then go get a prize?
Did you ever watch Lost in Space?
Long time ago when I was a kid.
Did they have a robot on there?
Will Robinson, a robot? Yeah, I think they did. It was.
Yeah, they did. He used to spit information out, so they knew well in advance.
Stays 2-2 to Griner, who flew out to right his first time out.
Well, he just about got a broken finger on that swing. That was way up the. Watch how far up the bat this goes. Get out of there. You better check that bat. That's how they crack and explode.
Checked his swing but went too far. You had mentioned Odorizzi talking with Jack Morris earlier in the year to try and improve some things.
Just recently, I
right.
thought.
Bert Blyleven is part of their telecast on Fox Sports North. You have to take advantage of that, don't you? I mean, when you have that at your disposal, why would you not pick their brains?
Well, I think you listen to it. It may not be for you. That's why I don't think everything that I say is right for everybody, but it may be right for some. So that's, as a player, you have to sort it out. But the information is not going to hurt you.
Third time Jake Odorizzi has retired the Tigers in order. Jim Adducci's road took him to Korea. How do the fans treat him, and what was his specific chant in Korean? Find out after the break.
Game day atmosphere in Korea, a lot like a major soccer match, maybe overseas.
Yes.
What is a good Jim Adducci crowd chant? How does that go?
So mine was lote, 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 aduchi, aduchi, anta, 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 aduchi, aduchi, aduchi. It would be so loud at times. It was like 25,000 people, and it was like them cheering. And I remember taking the biggest swing I possibly could and fell down. I didn't even touch the ball. So it was cool to be able to experience that.
That was the DTE Energy Know Your Own Power. Jim Adusi, with his year and a half that he played in the Korean baseball organization. And again, that's a tough decision. We talk about the road to the show. I mean, here's a guy who's now in his 15th year of professional baseball, spent a year and a half in Korea, obviously came up with the Texas Rangers. There's a base knock right there, guys. But came up with the Texas Rangers organization, and then obviously came to a crossroads. And if he wanted to continue his pro career and have a guaranteed check, basically the option was, are you willing to go overseas and perhaps play in Korea? So Jim Adusi talked to his wife. He had 2 young kids at the time, and she said, let's do it. So they packed up, went over there, and again, he says, he credits that whole experience for, keeping the dream alive. And then he came back to the States, and of course, ended up here with the Detroit
Johnny,
Tigers.
what did he learn most, do you think, over there?
Well, the biggest thing was immersing himself into the culture. And I think when I talked to him about it, I said, would you encourage other young players to maybe go that same route? And what he said was, if you do it, you have to go in all in. You have to be able to immerse yourself in it, trying to learn the language, be humble. The work ethic there in Japanese baseball, also in the Korea League, is all the fundamental stuff that you do. And there's a hierarchical system where guys don't talk out of turn. You respect your superiors, respect your elders, do what you're told to do. And I think sometimes we see some, players over here in this game that maybe didn't have to go through all of that and didn't respect it as much as they do in international baseball.
You're an adventurous guy. Would you do it?
Yeah, I'd do it. What's the paycheck?
Yeah, well,
not as much as you make here, I can promise you that.
To say they work on fundamentals, I think, is an understatement to what you think, because they really, really work.
It's like a philosophy. It's a philosophical approach to the game of baseball.
I think you would find it tougher.
Rodriguez off a weird hop, 1 down.
See if Gardy brings the infield in here. Probably has to. Good job by Forsythe getting Polanco over. Good recovery by Ronnie.
Brings up Robbie Grossman with a man on third and only 1 down. Grossman's been on base twice, courtesy of free passes. 26 doubles on the year. That's a career high. The previous career high was 22 a year ago.
Yeah, he's going to be ready to swing first pitch. Got to make sure you make a quality pitch.
Infield is in, Gibby. Low in the zone.
Now, if you look at the infield in, many players, I mean, ultimately you want to end up right in here on the grass to take the lip out of it. Many start here and come up. It's easier when you're moving in than if you're standing flat-footed. But this is real hot area. If somebody hits a bullet, you're close. Look at Daniel Norris, 3rd time through the order, has not done very well.
How do you fix that?
Well, it's an endurance thing, it's been a mechanical thing. If you're fighting your mechanics, you don't get the ball where you did, you lose a little life.
2-1.
But I think it just comes from experience. You got to want it. And there's plenty of guys that want to get 5 in, do their job, and they call it 5 and fly.
3-1 to Grossman.
Ball's right there. Did miss his target though.
Saw Drew Verhagen warming up. Man, has he been good lately, huh?
He's been great.
Yeah. Tigers have had a number of relievers just seem to find a groove and settle in. 3-1 pitch. Lost him again.
Well,
3 walks for Robbie Grossman. Not the worst thing that could happen there. Sets up a double play.
Yeah. Well, I thought they would wait to see if they pinch hit for Tyler Austin, but they're going to come out and talk to Norris right now, give him a little breather. It might not be a bad idea.
Copies are still available for the new book, 3, A Salute to Alan Trammell. Relive the career of Tigers legend and 2018 Hall of Fame inductee Alan Trammell with this must-have item. filled with an exclusive collection of stories and photographs. It's perfect for any Tigers fan. Order a copy today by visiting tigers.com/trammel3. Said this the other day during our telecast. Really one of the more enjoyable evenings I've had when you and Tram and I went out to dinner after the game Friday night and just talked baseball. It was simply awesome.
He's a rat for sure. He'll talk, and he's just got a lot to say about it. And we'd normally be talking about this situation right here. Man on first and third, 1 out. Tyler Austin is the hitter. 200 versus lefties, 068 with runners in scoring position. So looked like they pitched right around Robbie Grossman, who's hitting 310.
Came here from the Yankees in the Lance Lynn deal. Good start to the at-bat for Daniel Norris, 0-1.
Here's our Xfinity high-speed pitch. 92, Daniel, low 75. Looking for a double play right here, or a weak out where you can hold that runner at third base.
Good job by Griner to swallow that up.
It's important now as a catcher. You have to really be on top of your game blocking balls. You do not want Grossman advancing to second. You'd lose that double play option.
Rolled to third, but foul.
Some shoe polish on that ball. Right. Actually, they don't really use the good old-fashioned shoe polish anymore.
You did, right?
Yep. The polish. This stuff here is they scrub bubbles. They wipe them off with scrub bubbles. You know what those are? I'm serious. Yeah. You want to clean your shoes up at home, your leather shoes? You could buy some scrub bubbles.
Yeah, I know what
your
you're talking
bathroom
about.
Bubble thing, and it'll clean your shoes up. If you want to polish them, you got to go get it.
I have the old-fashioned shoe polish kit. Up the middle, Twins are in front. An RBI single for Tyler Austin.
We had the 1-2 count. Daniel was disappointed there. Actually almost got in a collision with Polanco scoring. But he's trying to get the ball in. You see away, down and in, and this is what happens. Just left that 4 or 5 inches out over the plate, and Austin just gets it into center field.
Yeah, he knew it right away, didn't he?
Yeah, if he gets it in there, it's a great pitch.
Now the beauty of this sport to settle down,
stop it at 1,
and turn their water off. Right. Jake Cave missed the corner. Struck out swinging last time up. Grounded to second his first time up.
Verhagen is up into the bullpen, so Norris at 92 pitches, ending, getting closer to the end.
2-0.
He's going to be anxious to swing, make a good pitch.
Kept going away, and now he's in danger of walking him.
You can see Daniel's frustrated, as anybody would be.
Do you think the last batter is affecting him on this batter?
I see a little more frustration showing, and I get it. Is it helping you, or can you fix it?
That time caught the edge.
That's the 3-0 strike zone. You ever notice how it gets a little wider? Pitches by inning. 19 already here in the 6th, 1 down.
Really efficient there in the 5th. Matter of fact, had 4 pitches through 2 batters until Joe Mauer came up and battled him. To second. Off the glove of Lugo. Another run's going to score. Cave is going to put on the brakes, and the Twins have runners at the corners and 2 runs in.
Got his ground ball. Lugo unable to make the play. That's going to be it.
Ron Gardenhire is going to go to his bullpen. How good has Drew Verhagen been lately? We'll show you when we come back on Fox Sports Detroit after this. By Bell Tire. For tires and auto service, everybody needs a Bell Tire guy. By Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest lasting full-size pickups on the road. And by Meridian Care, Medicare Advantage plans. What up? Who's that good-looking guy right there? Huh? Finally has you have your own cameraman finally. You had to do double duty.
How about that?
How about that?
How about that? Yeah.
Where'd you find that first picture? My goodness.
Well, I was grinding there for a little while.
Did Mom
pal.
send that to you? Come on. You don't have that at home? Or was that in a frame at home?
It probably is somewhere on a mantle somewhere.
Oh, boy.
No, man, it's been a journey to get here for sure. But like I said, everybody's got a story. I bounced around. I was Kentucky, Tennessee, Kansas, Missouri, now Michigan. So.
Well, you're a Michigander true and true. You're a Midwest guy, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
All pretty much Midwestern
You can tell.
staffs.
You can tell by the golf swing. You can tell by the personality. It's good. Yeah. Johnny and I played some golf together. We have fun.
Yeah, I'm working on my personality and my golf swing simultaneously.
Well, the latter's good. The former, I'm not sure. Get the yips once in a while, my friend.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Well side windows pitching changed. Drew Verhagen, 24th game, throwing the ball really well. ERA down around 2. Finally is conquering that control issue. Only 7 walks, 30 Ks.
And a shutout inning last night with a strikeout. Ron Gardenhire has been really pleased with what Drew Verhagen has brought to his bullpen and how he's settled down. Remember, like you've told us during the broadcast, he's been released and teams passed on him. So what do you learn from that? Well, he's really confident right now. Everything feels better. The stuff is played well at this level for some reason or another. Missed just outside. 2-1 to Miguel Sano, who's been a strikeout victim twice.
Well, one thing that was impressive to me about Verhagen was he basically was off the roster, right? Earlier in the year, he came back. He didn't pout about it. He's went down, came back, worked his way up, and here he is, and he's throwing the ball very well.
Tells you something about this guy, doesn't it?
Got some character and some determination. Ducey dropped that ball and drew some interest from the runner at third.
Tyler Austin taking a sneak peek there for good reason. Jake Cave was at first. There's Austin right there at third with 1 down and 2 runs already home for Minnesota. Foul tipped it.
Sano at 201, 13 home runs and 41 RBI, and here's a guy that they expected to be way better.
Oh yeah.
You know, he may be guilty of living up to expectations, but he's going to have to make some adjustments. Still has a ton of ability, big power.
Batting just .206 against righties. Numbers even worse against southpaws. And the 2 strikeouts against Daniel Norris sure didn't help. Verhagen looking for a ground ball here. Instead, pulled the string. 3rd strikeout of the night for Miguel Sano.
Good job by Verhagen picking up Daniel Norris right here. Good breaking ball. 12-6. Sano well out front. Just wanted to go back to that ground ball that was hit to Duel Lugo. Daniel Norris a little bit frustrated with it. This is a play. Look, he looks like he's got a good jump. Just hits off the heel of his glove. I say this is a play. Remember this play because I think this youngster's got an opportunity to be a pretty good glovesman. He'll make that play here as he gets a little more experience. And just to think back a little further, not to be an old crony or anything like that, but you know, when you have a Trammell and Whitaker, that our club, those plays were made all the time, and this is the goal of these youngsters to come up here and be maybe not a Tram or Lou, but to make those plays.
Remember, you had Dave Bergman, hell of a glove at first. Lance Parrish, an elite catcher, and then Chester Lemon in center. I mean, that's really strong up the middle, and we bring up the first baseman because, as Gibby told us over the weekend in Cleveland, first baseman can make everybody on the infield better. Not that Trammell and Whitaker necessarily needed the help. Good stop by Griner.
Oh, they
love
needed
the way
it.
he slides over and blocks it.
Was good, but Tram and Lou, they needed everybody. You're going to throw a ball. Everybody needs it. You got to rush it. You can't get a grip on it. The ball's wet. It works. But you watch the progress of Lugo. Even Ronnie Rodriguez is shortstop. You see improvement already. And
Well, we'll have a chance to monitor that, I think, don't you?
Yeah, they're going to get relentless work, and if they put it in, they'll be just fine. Verhagen now evens the count at 2-2. Trying to stop the Twins at just 2 runs in this inning. Big run out there at third base. Daniel did a pretty good job tonight.
There goes the runner. Pop up. Drew Verhagen does his job, but the Twins strike and lead in the 6th. Brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. By your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows, we can do that. We are the factory. Road to the show night here on Fox Sports Detroit. Well, that was a fun night in Kansas City. Gibby, George Brett joining our booth.
Wow, that's esteemed colleagues you've been working with over the years, Shepard.
Yeah, it's been fun. Radio, TV, in the town that I love, covering the teams that I treasure most.
Rubbing shoulders, Shep. You're good at it. Yeah, you fit right in.
I need a lot of help, man.
No, you fit right in.
First picture with my friend Rob Rubik, calling EMU, and the radio crew for Michigan basketball, and then a former radio show that I used to host in this town with some friends of mine. Ronnie Rodriguez. And then back to the top of the order for the Tigers, who need 2 to tie. I'm anxious to see Gibby's pictures, because Gibby did a lot of radio in town, of course.
Huh.
What's that all about?
Yeah,
although we did see your football pictures, so maybe is that all you gave? You didn't give us you and Gary Danielson and Eli Zaret for the locker room
I
show?
didn't give you anything.
Oh.
I was unaware.
Well, you know, Johnny, you know what it is with Gibby. All you have to do.
Oh, bust my butt.
All you got to do is go to Google. You can't find the pictures of you and I on Google, but boy, Gibby,
That's true.
They're all over the place, right?
All over.
That's
8 by 10 glossies everywhere you look.
Yeah, 8 by 10. Signed costs you a little extra, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a couple on there that had to strike out. You ever take an embarrassing picture over your lifetime that snuck out?
Oh, it snuck out to anybody else? I don't know.
Johnny, I'm sure
I don't think Johnny has.
Johnny's
too photogenic.
He's open.
Yeah.
No, hey, I don't know anything about it.
Shirt unbuttoned a little bit, Johnny.
showing a little that deep V.
Yeah, Johnny. The Google's not high class enough for Johnny Kane.
You got to go to Instagram for that? Snapchat,
Oh,
Facebook.
I don't do that.
He does the snappers.
No.
I do take a lot of photographs.
You know what? On your
yourself?
Facebook, yeah, your photos when you were. Where'd you recently go fishing with some friends?
Oh, up in New Hampshire.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah, Atlantic Striper trip.
Yeah, really enjoyed looking at those. I mean that. It's really cool.
I appreciate it. Yeah, Gardy, I showed Gardy a couple of those too, because you know Gardy's a big fisherman, as is Steve Little and Joe Vavra. So those guys appreciated that, because I know when the off season hits, Gardy's going to be doing some fishing too off his boat down in Florida.
Yeah, that's what he told me. I asked him, "You go back to Oklahoma?" He said, "No, I'm going to go down to Florida. I'll do some fishing." I was just wondering if he was going to stick around and maybe you and I could catch him at a Pistons game or a Red Wings game or something like that. Yeah. So the invitation is there for him, that's for sure.
We're waiting for the invitation. We need a trio here. We're talking Gibby inviting you and me out to do a little fishing. Invite us out to the ranch.
Well, I've already invited myself. Gibby's made known. He's already told me, way to invite yourself, Shep. I've done that more than once. I've dropped that hint, my friend.
No, we're not going fishing. We're going to go hiking, and the rest is a surprise.
A weekend with you is well spent, no matter what you decide our itinerary
It'll be
will
educational, you know that.
That much I do know.
Full shift. That's the full Ted Williams shift. We talked with Jay Sartori early from the Tigers, who's the head of analytics. He told us the reason why that works.
Do you think it's unusual to do this against a younger player like Candelario?
No, some of these guys, they get shifted in minor leagues, but Candy, he's young, but there's plenty of data on him.
Right into the shift. 2 quick outs. There's Kristen Stewart. And it's a Jeep game break. Kristen Stewart, who of course played at the University of Tennessee, was an all-conference selection there, first-round choice. And he's been impressive since being called up.
Well, we're talking about Kristen Stewart and, you know, the data. What we know so far, just a handful of games, but his chase rate is 29%. about the same as Candy. Ducey's 44, Lugo's 41, so he's ahead of them. But that's young and early numbers, and that's something that we talk about quite a bit, chase rate. Got to ask yourself, what does it really mean? Well, chase means you're chasing pitches that you shouldn't be chasing. And you want to find a drill, find a way to improve upon that. It's pitch recognition. He's getting a lot. Trust me, this pitching is far superior than anything he's seen.
You and I were talking the other day about the moment not being too big for him. Sometimes guys come up here, brighter lights, more people, bigger ballparks. He seems to take it all in and digest it well.
Well, that's down and in. He's having trouble with that pitch. Remember what Cody Allen did to him the other day?
Schooled him.
Well, he did the up and away back door. Now he's going to go down and in again. Went up.
Up. Got him to chase. And another 1-2-3 inning for Jake Odorizzi here in the 6th.
I treat San Jack more so like this was my job, my career. You know, growing up in high school and stuff, like this is just a game I play. You know, here, I mean, it was serious for me. It was see guys on the field when we were here, you know, not doing the right thing. It frustrated me because to me this was a job and this was a career that could carry over into something else as well.
As part of our Nissan Going Back to College, Daniel Stump, the talented lefty reliever for the Tigers, talking about his time at San Jacinto Junior College. Of course, Daniel grew up playing baseball in nearby Humble, Texas, which is one of the suburbs there of Houston. And honestly, he came out, really didn't have a lot of innings under his belt and wanted to continue to pursue baseball. San Jack gave him an opportunity to come out and throw. They said, hey, let it loose, let it fly a little bit. First couple throws out of the pen during basically an audition for a walk-on. He threw a couple out there. They said, okay, really let it fly. And then he was able to get up from a mid-80s fastball up into the high 80s fastball. And they said, okay, this is something we can work with. And obviously over the next 2 years was able to harness some of that raw talent. And he was a 9th-round pick of the Royals back in 2012, then went to the Phillies, and Tigers got him in 2016 in the Rule 5.
And Johnny's been really good lately. Matter of fact, hasn't allowed an earned run in the last 11 innings. Wallside Windows pitching change. Sandy Baez, another guy who's been coming out of the bullpen. Ron Gardenhire saying earlier today, really encouraged with what he's seen with Sandy Baez. What have you noticed that's been so encouraging about
it? Well, they like the velo. Throws 96 plus. Slider and a split finger. He has it, but they need to see more consistency. You know, just kind of looking at a lot of these pitchers coming out of the bullpen, it's totally changed since the beginning of the year. And to see how guys are running into shape who's going to be used in what role. Now Baez is a guy who he was a starter, so maybe they would use him at length if they can. If he gets his 3 pitches going, they can do that. But if he's just a 2-pitch pitcher and he comes in, he might be a 1-inning guy. Drew Verhagen, who just got done. We talked a little bit about him, but he's really being dominant right now. I was just looking. His longest appearance this year was 3 2/3 innings. He's got several 3 innings pitched. He could be a long guy, yet you want him to be available if he's going to throw like that. He's got 4 2/3 innings in 6 games in September, 1 hit. So you saw,
pounded to left center, deep, and over the wall. Home run for the number 9 batter in the Minnesota lineup, Chris Jimenez. Second homer of the year for the Twins catcher, and it's 3-0.
Just a good old-fashioned fastball that Jimenez gets a hold of. It's right over the middle of the plate. You can hit heaters up here. He's gonna have to locate a little more. We were just talking about that. But that ball hit a jet stream and over the fence for a solo home run.
He got all that, didn't he? Joe Mauer in his 1-for-3 day. Fourth career homer against the Tigers for Jimenez.
Joe Mauer, getting back to how you play the numbers. Tigers are not playing a shift. It's not a partial. It's more conventional. Look at the numbers. When he shifted, 151, no shift, 248. So you see the outfielders playing shaded to the left.
Mauer's always done a good job of going the other way.
He stays on the ball absolutely. 275, only 6 home runs. 720 OPS. I think you're looking for over 800 for sure on the OPS. 900 is even better.
Coming into the game, last 11 games at Comerica Park, batting .325 with 12 RBIs. That 12th RBI coming last night in the 6-1 win.
Got a great eye, as you can see. 46 walks coming into tonight's game. On base percentage, almost 380.
Has the 3rd most RBIs by a visitor in this ballpark. Strokes his 2nd hit of the night. And only Paul Konerko has played more games and collected more hits than Joe Mauer. Playing in his 213th game in this yard. Free agent at the end of the year. His contract is up, and you can't help but wonder, does he call it quits? Do they sign him for another year? Who knows? He's 35. Former MVP in 2009. He stands at first base with nobody down. Jorge Polanco got it started from Minnesota in the 6th. He doubled and scored. Twins put up 2 in that frame. They've added another on a solo blast from Jimenez to make it 3-0.
Two and 0. Now, this is the part where you get 2-0, where Baez is going to have to learn. You just can't throw a fastball down the middle here. You're going to have to be able to throw your secondary pitches, and Tigers are going to come out and have a talk with Sandy.
Folks, manage your dream team in franchise mode, plus get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available right now. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated E for everyone.
Baez started out really good in this trip up and learning a few tough lessons right now. He's struggling a little bit. We're getting back to Verhagen. He's really He's 10 innings in April. May is when he got sent off the roster. 8 2/3 in June, 12 2/3 in July, 11 in August, 16 last month. So he's, you know, it kind of looks like maybe the more he threw, the better he threw. These are kind of some of the kind of things that you look at.
Want to keep him busy is what you're saying.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's going to be a shutdown guy late, you can't throw him 3 innings.
No.
However, if you got into the playoffs, you could.
Or 3 days in a row, right? Can't do that either.
Well, you could if you kept it short, inning and a third. I don't know how he bounces back, but Tigers got some action here. That looks like Daniel Stump.
And Victor Alcantara.
Look for the pace. Get a guy on base. It really slows down.
Just missed inside. And a walk to Polanco.
Yeah, it seems to me Baez struggling with his mechanics tonight, and just doesn't unable to dominate as he is in the past.
And yet a ground ball for a double play would do wonders right now. Logan Forsythe has grounded to short a couple of times.
And Guardy's trying to leave the youngster in and see what he's got.
Good stop by Griner. He's made a few of those tonight.
Now watch Griner how he gets his right shoulder turned around. So if this ball hits his chest protector, it's aimed right back out at home plate. Watch him get that shoulder around. He gets around it. Got to get that body out there, get that leg out there so it bounces back across. Always trying to be ahead of that ball.
1-1 now to Forsythe, who's done a nice job since coming over in the trade. Has hit safely in 25 of his 40 games as a Twin. Now behind in the count. Twins 15-7 in their last 22 games against Detroit. And they've outscored the Tigers 123-77 coming into the game tonight. Big out.
Attaboy. Made a pitch. Guardy likes that.
Gives him another batter, huh?
Pick a slider or a split. Forsythe's down, and that'll bring up Grossman, who has 3 walks.
Double play here gets you out of the inning. But Robbie Grossman's been a tough guy to handle. On base all 3 times. Thanks to the 3 walks you see there.
It looked like a split right there. Trying to get the ground ball double play.
Launches to right center field. Deep. On the run, Matuk, and he makes the grab. Helps to have some speed. Long out for Grossman. 2 down.
Again behind in the count. Grossman barrels this fastball to the deepest part of the park, and look at Mikey go. Good route right to it. Reverse pivot, gets it in quickly. If he doesn't, Joe Mauer's going to be on his way towards home. See, he's got the cheat sheet right there going back in the pocket.
And he had to make up a lot of ground there, Gibby.
Yes, he did.
Tyler Austin's the designated hitter. RBI single last time up on a 1-for-3 night. Baez trying to bounce back after surrendering the solo homer to Jimenez to lead off the 7th to make it 3-0.
So Polanco, Forsythe, and Grossman all get ball 1. Heater to follow in Austin. The same. It's 2-0 now. It's good work for Baez.
Yanked down the left field line, fair into the corner. 1 run is home. They'll send another, and the Twins pad their lead. 5-0 Minnesota.
It's the fastball, 2-0 fastball. Got behind, it's bad news. Rocked by Tyler Austin down into the corner. Score a couple more.
And Ron Gardenhire's seen enough from Sandy Baez. He'll go back to the pen. Looks like Daniel Stumpf will head out with the Tigers down a bunch.
Summary, pretty good pitching duel start out. Jake Odorizzi keeping the Tigers off balance, building off that. Daniel Norris good as well in the 6th inning, started off with a double. Then the Twins plate a run. Drew Verhagen came in after Norris was replaced and got him out of this. A miss, unable to make that play. They brought Verhagen in. Then the home run right here by Chris Jimenez, solo run in the 7th. Tigers now trail 5-0 as the Twins have added another. 5-8-0 for the Twins, 0-1-0 for the Tigers. Bats are sleeping. You got to get them awake and come back and get a victory.
Daniel Stumpf will face Jake Cave here in the 7th with a runner in scoring position. Stumpf threw a scoreless inning last night, allowed a hit. Since being recalled from Toledo in this wall-side windows pitching change on August 19th, he has not allowed an earned run in 11 straight appearances. And during that stretch, he's thrown 10 innings, has a whip of .8, and a batting average against of just $143.
Yeah, he got sent down. Really did him good. He realized, I think he came up and thought he could just overpower with his fastball. He's got a great arm, good velo. He's got a good slider. He went down and made some adjustments so he could locate a little better. Now he's got more weapons to use regardless of the count, and the results are good.
Poke to left, and Stewart will make the play. But Minnesota plates 3, and they extend their lead. Coming up is the Consumers Energy 7th inning stretch.
We just won a national championship with Hosmer, Devin Moreira, who's with Boston, Adrian Nieto, who's been up and down in the big leagues with a couple teams, you know, myself. So, and all of the scouts that came and ended up, you know, scouting Hosmer and Adrian and Devin, because they were upperclassmen already, you know, found me, which I was just kind of a, you know, I was a sophomore. And so that was when I really started getting a lot of national attention.
Nick Castellanos talking about his days in high school, Archbishop McCarthy High School in Florida, before he was drafted in the first round, 44th overall in 2010 by the Tigers. His road to the show.
Yeah, he could always hit. That was his road, the way he swings that bat.
On cue.
A little cheer from the Tigers. It's been a while. First inning, Kristen Stewart got a check swing single. That's the Tigers' first hit since then. Look at Nick stay on this, goes down. Look at his head right on that ball. And certain players just have a trajectory off their bat. You ever notice that, Shep?
Yeah.
It's just kind of that line drive, or it takes backspin and it carries. Hitter's talking chop over there at first base.
Odorizzi had retired 10 in a row, Gibby.
B-Mart's being shifted. Go the other way.
Career high 171 hits for Nicholas Castellanos now. See if the Tigers can string something together.
Over here. Visualize it. Okay, here we go. I got a vision.
Did you ever plan to go the opposite way, or did it just happen? Take the ball where it's pitched.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, that too.
Tried it. Popped it foul, but playable and made by Johnny Field. Hey folks, join us tomorrow afternoon as the Tigers and Twins wrap up this 3-game series. All of your game coverage begins with Tigers Live at noon. That's tomorrow. Tigers and Twins at noon right here on Fox Sports Detroit.
So you asked me, do you ever plan on going the other way? I think Victor was trying to go the other way right there. And what you do is you wait for a pitch out over the plate or away that makes it easier. Which he did, just got underneath it a little bit.
Adduccio for 2, a strikeout victim in the 4th, and a grounder to second in the 2nd. As Gibby mentioned, just 2 hits on the night. A check swing by Stewart in the 1st, and then Castellanos. There's hit number 3.
You're going to probably see some action. Tigers get another hit. I talk about managers watching what's going on ahead of them. This is really 3 balls in a row. The hit's solid. I was talking last week about A.J. Hinch looking for 4 in a row. That's how you score.
Yeah.
Tigers have had 3 good at-bats.
Heard a really good interview with A.J. Hinch on MLB Radio this week, where he was talking about the uniqueness of his schedule, that they don't play anybody in their division down the stretch here. Matuk was able to hold up.
Well, again, if you're Paul Molitor and you're watching your pitcher, you're saying, okay, this is different. So he's going to have to get somebody going. I believe they just got somebody rolling out there. It's just the eye test.
This is where he pulled Odorizzi in New York last time out. He had no hit the Yankees through 7 1/3. He had 1 hit the Tigers through 7 1/3. 2-0 to Matuk.
81 pitches. We know that he's been gotten 3rd time through.
Actually, it's through 6 here tonight. My apologies. Not through 7 1/3 at all. It's through 6.
We got action.
biggest threat of the night for the Tigers.
Look at that 2-0 pitch. Now, remember the difference between Sandy last? This is what Sandy's going to have to learn. He's got a 2-0 pitch. Runners on first and second, 1 out, and he drops that in there. That's a way to get back in the count.
That's keeping a hitter off balance too, isn't it?
That's a quality pitch. It's what you're going to have to do to survive, get outs in big situations.
Matuk to the right center field gap. That should get down and up against the wall. 1 run home. Jim Aducey right on the back of Nicholas Castellanos, and it's a triple, a 2-run triple for Mikey Matuk.
Just like we promised, it's time for the Miller Lite hold true moment. Mikey, that was a good at bat. 2-0 laid off the change up down the middle, gets the 2-1 count down the middle, and just cranks it to right center field. Clears the bases, 2 RBI, 2-run score, and it's got a triple. That's going to be it for Jake Odorizzi. He smoked this, didn't he?
Sure did. Didn't even need to slide, but why not get dirty, right? Second triple of the year for Mikey Matuk. Tigers are on the board. Twins go to the bullpen. We got a wall side windows pitching change. See if the Tigers can get a little bit closer when we return.
Gardenhire's disappointment in his team's at bats. I say, there you are, 2-0. Drops one over, gets the call. Mikey cranks this to right center field. That's a good at bat. You're 2-0, you're up in the count. You don't just swing because you think it's a strike. You take it, it's a strike. It's 2-1. It's not what you wanted. You get the fastball down the middle, and you hit a 2-run triple. And the Tigers are back in this game. 5-2.
103 miles per hour off Mikey Matuk's bat. That 2-1 triple, and now Grayson Grinder's job is to get him home. Went around. Matt McGill is the new pitcher for the Twins.
Started right off with the hook, didn't he? That's what they do. You get in trouble like this. Oh boy. It's tough so far. 0-2. Now you got to go to emergency.
You got to buckle down here, don't you?
Yeah, you got to find a way. McGill 95 plus. Got a good slider. Curveball. 95 on that one.
First appearance in September 13th against Kansas City, where he gave up an earned run on a couple of hits in 2/3 of an inning. Good backhanded stab by Jimenez.
Mikey was peeking. He was ready to go. Mikey's really come back here since his recall, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had a great attitude. Really has.
It's not going to do you any good to pout. You've got to find a way to get better and do what you're capable of doing, and he has.
Griner strikes out. Mikey Matuk just helped Mickey York and ram-picked the stick. The leader is Mickey York, and Matuk gives him 4 points. Gibby's looking for a little scratch while everybody else has 1 on a tough night.
Mickey and Mikey, Mickey and Mikey.
You like that phrase, don't you? Well, let me ask you this. If it's such a great phrase, why don't you use your first overall choice on Mikey Matuk ever?
Maybe I will.
Maybe I will.
Maybe I will.
You've got the points. You've got the lead.
And I got the first pick, I think, tomorrow. So we'll just see if he's in the lineup. Maybe I will.
I will bet you a pregame meal you don't do it.
I've got nothing to
Hey,
lose.
if you get the soup and salad bar, that's $6.
That's it. Is that, do I get dessert too?
Oh. Lugo 0 for 2.
What time's their game tomorrow?
1 o'clock. Mickey York and Craig Monroe and Johnny Kane with a pregame show at noon. Man, he's just blowing it by the Tiger.
Yeah, it's two sliders. Again, these kids are young, and they're going to have to learn how to not chase those pitches right there. So there's going to be an adjustment. Got to choke up here with 2 strikes. Got to let the ball travel.
Ate him up. That's it for the Tigers threat. They leave a man on third, but they play 2. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire.
At the end of the season, I was talking with one of my old coaches up there. He was a pitching coach, and I sat down with him. I said, I don't think I'm going to play anymore. I had a pretty decent year, and I said, I just don't understand why they didn't call me to the big leagues. And he said, we really would like you to go down and be a coach and start teaching. And I said, I would do infield. So I went right to instructional league, and that turned into, we want you to manage. And I kind of fought it a little bit, but then my first year managing in Kenosha, Wisconsin, I knew that this is probably the route for me. I really, really enjoyed it. I like the kids, I like the teaching part, and I like being in control, so it just kind of was a fit.
It's paid off for him. It's paid off for the Twins prior, and now it's paying off for the Tigers as well. Ron Gardenhire sat down with his son Toby, who's on the Twins coaching staff and their system. The two sat down with Johnny Kane. You could see much of that interview tomorrow on Tigers Live.
It's been a good year for Toby. Really ascended.
Pretty cool.
He'll get a job someday in the big league staff.
Exchanged the lineups yesterday before the game and said, you don't get a chance to do that with your dad.
He beat his dad.
Yeah. Victor Alcantara the fourth Tiger pitcher of the night, facing Miguel Sano, who's 0 for his last 15 against right-handed pitchers.
Hasn't pitched in a week, so he should be fresh tonight. A lot of times guys have trouble with their control when they don't pitch that often.
You like his stuff too, don't you?
He's improved a ton. Remember watching him in spring training as soon as we acquired him this year, and he throws a lot more strikes now, so he's got an opportunity. You're going to have pitching. You can't be issuing free passes. It just will never work. You're putting guys on base,
especially out of the bullpen.
Yeah, well, I mean, really anywhere. The bullpen for sure, especially you get late. It slows the game down. Your defense is taxed, and you get in bad counts, and it makes you be able to throw your secondary pitches for strikes, and some can't do that.
Another good stop by Griner.
Griner's been on the ground a lot today.
Yeah, he has. He's done a nice job keeping the ball in front. Max Kepler has worked his way onto the on-deck circle for Minnesota. He'll pinch hit for Johnny Field. Full count to Miguel Sano.
Really yanked that.
When a pitcher hasn't pitched in as long as Alcantara hasn't, how do you get him back in that groove? Do you worry about him getting in that groove?
Well, first of all, he's been throwing aside, I'm sure. He's gotten on the mound. Throws his flat grounds every day. The pitchers always go out and throw pitches off the foul line.
Fourth strikeout of the night from Miguel Sano. Ugly.
It's going to take him under 200, so that's, you want to be thinking about that if you're Sano, but good pitch right here. Let's take a look at the sequence. Victor mixing it up, down away, down away, down and in. Good two-seamer. Look at this run. Good stuff.
Here's Max Kepler in the pinch hitting role. See his numbers this year. Decent home run power. Another one that skips in there. 1-1. Kepler hitting .213 in his career against the Tigers. September has been a bad month for him, though. Just .208 in September. 1-2 to him. Does have the second most extra base hits on the Twins, second to Eddie Rosario. Got caught watching there.
A lot of movement on Victor's pitches tonight, fooling him. Look at this pitch he gives up. Look how much it's running. Thought it actually was going to be inside. This ball just really runs back over the plate.
Man, how do you handle a pitch like that?
You got to recognize it after you see it.
There's Jimenez, who had a solo blast in the 7th.
Remember when we were showing the iPad? They have that. They got his pitches on that iPad, so you watch it. You tell yourself, you see it in your at bat. It's confirmed, and you got to look out for it. Change up right there. Got that big wind up and jumped at him. It comes out slow. A lot of shaking going there. So if you were a hitter, what would that tell you, you think? A lot of shaking.
Well, they're obviously not on the same page.
So you're going to say what?
Secondary pitches?
Yeah.
Okay. Missed
Good
it outside.
I mean, look at this pitch. Watch how he turns that right thumb over when he releases the ball. That's why you get all that movement. That right thumb goes down underneath. Another one.
2-2.
It's 95 sinker.
What's Jimenez asking there, Gibby?
Good pitch. Is that in the zone?
Yeah. Wants to make sure he's swinging at a strike.
And that movement is late. Might get another one down there. It's safe.
The opposite way. Good coverage by Lugo. But a high throw.
Nice by Griner. Now there's a time when it didn't work out, but Lugo will learn this play as well. This is tough. He's going to his left. He's got a reverse pivot and then get rid of it. You know, maybe some of it comes from a better start, but that's hard to be going that way. Not bad. He'll get it. Alan Trammell didn't do that just from day one either.
It's a good piece of hitting by Jimenez.
Picks it. He's running. That's a hard throw. Got underneath it a little bit. It's kind of one of the things as middle infielders, you got to learn how to filter that ball in there.
Joe Mauer's had a couple of hits tonight.
You look at Mauer, he's just a line drive machine. When he pulls it, it's a line drive. He hits it up the middle, it's a line drive. He hits it the other way, it's a line drive.
And never been a really big home run hitter. For a guy this big, you can't help but wonder why.
Well, let's look right here. You got this. Look at his swings. They're all the same. Watch that bat. It's just right on the plane. Gonna look at this next one real slow. You see how flat that bat was? It's not dipping. It just stays right on it. You can just see the way his angle is, that he's a line drive machine. A lot of guys overswing, and that back elbow dips, and you get that little flare. You don't get the line drive. Finally,
tapper to second. Good play by Lugo. Alcantara does his job. We go to the 8th. Tigers trailing Minnesota by 3 on Fox Sports Detroit.
Football player first, baseball player second, just the way my family was. And when I got to my I knew I was good at baseball, and I got to my freshman year in high school, finish basketball season, go to play baseball, play on the freshman team for a little bit. Got called up to the varsity team, started in right field in a playoff game. And at that point, I was like, oh, maybe I have a shot.
The road to the show for Mikey Matuk, who was originally drafted in the 39th round in 2008 by Tampa, and then in the first round 3 years later. Ronnie Rodriguez skies with the center. Jake Cave is there. One quick out in the 8th.
No, some of the at-bats Gardy was talking about last night, there would be another one. 1-0 count. You've been really a free swinger. You pretty much can be assured they're not going to throw you anything good. You know, make the guy throw a strike, get the pressure on him occasionally. And Ronnie is a very aggressive swinger, and he pops it out there for an easy out in the second pitch. Matt McGill still in the game. They call him Goose. Wonder why. We have to ask that question.
Not
Talk
Gooch,
about guys.
yeah, and their nicknames.
937th pick, 2008 draft.
Wow, really?
You know, this kid's got a lot of determination.
That is a long road, isn't it? Long way to wait to hear that name called. By the way, Matuk originally drafted by Florida in the 39th round, and then 3 years later by Tampa in the first. He's got the 2-run triple. Reason Detroit's on the board. Jamer Candelario has a walk in 3 at-bats.
Tigers down to the last 5 outs, need runners.
2-2. That one went off the cage of Jimenez. Lewis Coleman warming up.
Got him. If you're not awake, you are now. I'm sure he will remember what that sounded like.
Yeah, that can't feel too good. He's old school right there. It's one of those old school masks. Usually they're a little bit longer than that. Candelario went fishing. 2 down.
There's a good breaking ball there. Tigers have seen a lot of them recently.
It's the 3rd strikeout of the night for Matt McGill. He's come on, done a nice job for Minnesota. Now he'll face Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart hurt his shoulder earlier in the game. It looks like they may be removing him.
Oh, Candelario.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Candy. Stewart up the bat.
Not a lot of depth on that infield with Nico Goodrum still nursing an injury.
Just keep spinning them up there, don't they?
Stewart 0 for 3 last night. 0 for 3 tonight. With a walk back in the 3rd.
Check swing.
Or check that, he had the single. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
1
the
for
first.
3. Yeah. I was looking at Candelario's line, since that was my Ram pick to stick that has gone awry suddenly. Stewart laid off to make it 2-2.
Here comes the breaking ball. Ooh, way to get a piece. That was a good pitch. Got the heater away. Good job spoiling this pitch. Had me fooled. So all you can do is hope you get a piece of it. Wait for the next one. Oh.
Gloved by Polanco at short. Hit it well, but right at the shortstop. McGill sends Detroit down 1-2-3 in the 8th.
800 Call Sam update. And once again, Simo, not a lot going on from an offensive standpoint for the Tigers.
Well, Mick, last night, Gardy did not like the hitter's approach in the batter's box. Tonight, it was a different story. I'll tell you what it was on the postgame show. They have to stick around, though.
All right, well, we assume that they will. We'll get into all of that, and we sit down with Ron Gardenhire and his son Toby, who is coaching for the Twins in this series. All that and a whole lot more immediately following the final out on Tigers Live. Shep, give him.
All right, guys, always look forward to it. Thanks very much. Lewis Coleman in for the Tigers on the mound.
Lewis, 48th game. You can see about an inning per appearance. A few too many walks right there, but the opponent's only hitting 232 off of him. Coming in and try and shut the Twins down so the Tigers can score 4 in the 9th for a walk-off.
Twins scored 2 off starter Daniel Norris. Then scored 2 off Sandy Baez.
We got to see a little change there. Rodriguez is looks like he's at third base for now. Cosmo is taking Candy's spot in the order. We saw him earlier wincing with a little shoulder problem, so it looks like he's going to go in and get some ice.
Polanco's been on base 3 times tonight. Double and scored in the 6th. Walked and scored in the 7th.
He's an aggressive swinger, especially on the fastball. 2-1 count. Drop a good slider in there. A good two-seamer away.
Also reached on a fielder's choice.
Here's what happened to Candy. That was Jimenez right here in the 2nd inning. He threw it. He kind of looked like he had an awkward route on his throw, and you can see him wiggling his shoulder. And he's out of the game.
Looks like maybe his lower back.
We'll wait to get a report from the Tigers.
Ronnie Rodriguez now at third base. And as you mentioned, Pete Kozma, the sure-handed shortstop for the Tigers. Although Kozma on the second base side of the bag with Polanco up.
I asked the coaches how do they determine what?
Polanco perfect.
Right through the hole.
Yep, with the shift implemented against him.
They move the guys to where they think they're best suited to make a play. Polanco with another hit. He's got a walk, a double. Stolen base. He's beating the shift right here. He sees it's wide open. I think as the game go on, you're going to see more and more guys doing that. Because back in the day, they would pitch him away, play him away. But they didn't call it the Ted Williams shift. Then guys started, taking those pitches and hitting against it, figured it out. I think it's going to happen as well. There's plenty of players that can beat the shift. You got to ask yourself, you're a power hitter. Do you want to beat the shift, or you want to try and hit it out of the park, right? That's what many opponents would take that from a power hitter. Guy that hits the ball out of the park. So you go ahead and take your single. We just don't want you to hit the homer.
Right. Forsythe is either struck out or grounded to short tonight.
Take the ground out to short right here, sir.
Absolutely. Twins with the 2 runs in the 6th off Daniel Norris, who pitched pretty well. And then they got 3 runs off Sandy Baez. Daniel Stump, now Lewis Coleman for the Tigers. Drew Verhagen in there too. Another good stop by Griner.
2-2.
There's what you asked for, and it's a tailor-made double play.
Good pitch, lots of nice sinking action. Started with a good front end throw. Then Lugo has plenty of time right here to get the back end of that double play.
And Robbie Grossman bats with 2 down.
3 walks and a sac fly. No plate appearances tonight. How about that? But the on-base average goes up.
Sure does. You like that helmet that's got all the stickum on it?
I didn't use that, but some like it that way. I put the stickum on my bat. But that's why they put it on there. They like the look, and then you can just touch your helmet. And it's sticky, and you can make sure you got a good grip on the hat or on the bat.
High and tight, 2-1.
Trevor Hildenberger looking like he's going to come in the bottom of the 9th, face the Tigers. Ground ball machine.
Caught the edge, 2-2 to Grossman. Just missed.
Well, you can see on our indicator right there, the Fox box, that it was well outside. However, he did get previous pitch called the strike. It finished well off. I believe it measures at the front of the plate.
Punched foul.
Tigers have a day game tomorrow, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Is it Sunday?
Against Kansas City, the final homestand of the year.
Got some fun stuff going on there.
Yeah, including that last game, right? Players' jerseys.
Announcers'
high pop-up.
Jerseys.
Rodriguez takes care of business. Tigers need 3 to tie, 4 to win, and their best hitter leads it off. Side windows. Tigers will have Spencer Turnbull make his major league starting debut. He's been in relief in the Cleveland series and went 1-2-3, but this will be his first start as a pro, and you see his numbers there in the minors. Twins haven't given us an indication on who will get the nod in the series wrap-up.
Turnbull's got good stuff. Can he keep it harnessed? He's got a lot of movement. Sometimes get him in trouble because of trying to find the strike zone, but they like this young kid and going to give him a start. They'll have another start probably after this.
What's the book on Trevor Hildenberger to close it out for the Twins?
Ground ball machine. Highest out rate on ground balls and bunts against the shifted defense, 89, almost 90%. At least one out on 43 of 48 ground balls.
11th career appearance against Detroit. It'll be Castellanos, Martinez, and a Ducey due up. Castellanos batting .265 against righties. They say it went. Jerry Lane, our first base umpire, and the crew chief.
Yeah, Jerry, he'll be back there tomorrow behind the plate. I think he went there.
It's the right call.
Look at that.
3 pitches.
Has big time pitch variation there. Throwing the sinker early in the count, and he comes back with some type of ephus pitch right here. 75 miles an hour. Nick's well out front, totally fooled. Big arm motion.
Martinez with a couple of flyouts to left and a strikeout. The shift that we oftentimes see against Victor Martinez while batting left-handed. Behind in the count quickly.
Yeah, he tried to go the other way in his last at bat. Popped it up. A lot of motion. And we saw the nice sinker, then the big, I don't know what that is. It must be a changeup. Victor's usually pretty good at staying back on those pitches, though. Need a runner. Sinker down at the bottom.
Victor Reyes warming up just in case he's got a pinch run for Victor Martinez. What are you looking for here as a hitter?
Trying to get the ball up. He throws sinkers and his off-speed pitches down. Just missed that. You know, this is when it's good when your teammates in front of you have taken a couple pitches, so you kind of get a look at what his ball's doing. You're in the on-deck circle. You're trying to get some timing. You're trying to get a timing mechanism. Because as you can see, he's got a complicated delivery. He kind of jumps at you. Sinker he's keeping down in the lower in the zone.
Right back up the middle. A base hit for Victor Martinez here in the 9th.
Hung a slider and Victor's right on it. Victor Reyes is going to go run for V-Mart. See, he's underneath it, just hangs it. V-Mart's such a good hitter. Right up the middle. There's one. Need one more runner. We get the tying run to the plate.
Official word on Jamer Candelario, lumbar spine spasm. Lumbar spine spasm. You got that?
Yeah. It's the 30th time Victor Reyes has pinch run this year. That's may lead the league.
Good speed too. Long strides. Can steal a base for you, although you don't necessarily need that here.
Want to get it up. Don't want anything low in the zone. Got to take that even if it is a strike. Just got to take it again too. You can't give in. If you get 2 strikes, there's nothing you can do about it. But that's a guaranteed double play ball if you swing at that pitch. Easier said than done. Easy from the booth, tough at the plate. But that's what you're telling yourself.
Hildenberger has set single season career highs in appearances and innings and strikeouts and holds as well. Two and two to Jim Adduci.
Mikey Mata could have a real good game here if Adduci got on. Mikey went yard. Really swinging the bat well. Stayed back on his triple. Cranked it. Look how low Hildenberger's throwing those pitches. Those are right at the bottom of the zone. They don't look like they're, look there on the Fox tracks. Even when he's missing off the plate. Every pitch lower third.
Adduci hanging tough.
You can see he's guarding. He's guarding against pulling off a changeup. Look at him. He waits. This is right there. He's got to let it go a little deep so he gets that extra recognition.
It's a 3/4 arm delivery from Trevor Hildenberger. Makes it rather unique. A tapper to the mound. They'll take the sure out, and there's 2 down.
Well, Mikey's up. Good chance he's going to get on as he's feeling really good. His last at bat had 2 on. See, ball, another ball, and then they called this a strike. And he gets one down the middle and cranks it to right center field. That scored the Tigers 2 runs. Well, Mikey needs to get on. That'll leave it up to Grayson Griner to try and tie the game for the Tigers.
Montauk homered Sunday against the Tribe. His 8th of the year. And as Gibby just pointed out, tripled back in the 7th, brought home a couple of runs.
Looks like the Tigers are taking a strike. That's kind of the old Tom Kelly way in Minnesota. Until you get the tying run to the plate, you take a strike.
A shift against Montauk on the left side. This one, he goes the opposite way. Reyes hits the bag at third. Montauk has an RBI single. He's responsible for all 3 Tiger runs.
Excellent job. Good approach. You got the side armor. He's keeping it down. They've got that shift on him, and he just goes right against it. Inside out. Good adjustment. Victor scores easily. Here comes Grayson Griner.
Be a perfect time for his first home run of the season, wouldn't it?
Oh, would it ever? Plenty of pitching, so we can go extra innings.
Hit 4 in Toledo. There goes Montauk. No throw. One and one to Griner. Those with Mickey Yorkin, Ram picked the stick. Settle down. You don't get that extra point. That was defensive indifference. You got enough points to win though tonight.
Is Mickey chirping again?
I don't think
Should
so.
be,
I would be. Yeah.
Up in the zone. Oh, there you go.
Slammed foul.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a steal, guys.
I don't think so. You have enough points tonight, my friend.
The more we get at him, the more he does. We'll wear him down, though.
Stays 1-2 to Grayson Griner.
This is a real challenge for Griner. Real tough at bat. That arm coming from behind Grayson. A lot of movement. He's trying to guard against that slider. Staying alive.
Gets away from the catcher Jimenez, and Matuk will hustle to third.
Paul Molitor getting uncomfortable. He just yanks this. Catcher loses sight of it. Mikey on to third. But Griner's the one. Need to get him on base or hit the home run.
Fans trying to spur on Grayson Griner. Waits on the 2-2 pitch.
Just looking on the bench, Reyes is used, Salty's there, Nico Goodrum still hurt, Kobe.
Lugo wants his shot.
He does.
Pulled the string and down goes Griner. 7th save of the year for Hildenberger. The Twins have now won 11 of their last 16 here. Let's send you to the Coliseum studio. Mickey York and Craig Monroe standing by for Tigers Live postgame.
All right, Shep, thank you. The Tigers rally comes up short tonight. Starter Jake Odorizzi didn't make anything easy for the Tigers tonight. We'll look back at what made him so tough tonight. Daniel Norris, did he take a step in the right direction? We'll get his thoughts from the clubhouse. Our Road to the Show theme continues with a look at the Tigers' road to the big leagues. And Ron Gardenhire didn't like his team's at bats last night. See what he has to say tonight next on Tigers Live.